All right, I'm gonna riff here for a second, so bear with me. I'm trying to piece some ideas together that are floating in my head right now. I want to be an advocate for mini tour pro golfers and try to help them make more money. I feel like it is grossly unfair just how impossible it is to make it through the mini tour ranks and Q schools and get to the Corn Ferry Tour and then get a chance on the PGA Tour. Like you're set up to fail. This is all stemming from a video that I created yesterday, and then I woke up this morning plastered on the front page of Amazon News golf section at the very top, and a full Golf Digest article written up about this video I made, as well as some other golf outlets. And it just got me realizing, like, wow, you struck a nerve here. People have no idea how impossible it is to make it as a pro golfer. It costs $2,500 by the time you're done with travel, entry fee, lodging, practice fees for this one particular tournament that I was breaking down. First place was 20 grand. Good job if you won. Pretty much everything other than that makes it a waste of your time. Seventh place was the break-even point out of 117 guys. You had to beat 110 guys out of a 117 player field to just break even for the week. It's insane. And in order to do that, you had to shoot 10 under for 3 days on a very difficult golf course. So the more and more I'm thinking about this, because I lived that for 8 years and I probably accrued $500,000 of debt myself playing off and on for 8 years and playing 5 different Q schools and Dakota's Tour 4 times and all this stuff, right? It's very close to my heart, and I feel deeply for other talented professional golfers that never break through and actually make money and never really become household names. And it sucks. And I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. I don't know whether or not there's a way to funnel money from like the PIP, the Player Impact Program, which is supposed to go to the, most influential pro golfers in the world, which is obviously completely skewed towards the household names, Tiger, Rory, etc. So all it really does is just put more money in the pockets of people that don't even know what money means anymore because they're 100 millionaires. Same thing with the Live Tour. And it's the guys that are exceptionally talented, as I just showcased in this video. I basically said that the winner of the tournament on the Asher Tour shot 16 under for 3 days on a golf course rated at 75.0, so 3 strokes more difficult than like a scratch golfer would shoot 75. The system doesn't exactly work like that, but for the point I'm trying to make here, just assume a scratch golfer would have shot 75 there. This guy averaged 5.3 under per day, so effectively 8.3 under what scratch golf would be. And Scotty Scheffler, world number 1, has self-proclaimed plus 7.5 handicap. They don't keep handicaps as pro golfers on the PGA Tour, so not completely verifiable, but close enough here, right? The point I'm trying to make is that the winners on the mini tours are fairly comparable to PGA Tour winners and PGA Tour players, but there's only 125 tour cards every year. What happens to the other 5,000 talented mini tour pro golfers? There's one way to get there. They give out 25 new cards every year by way of Corn Ferry Tour Q School, and I don't know, another 25 from the tour or something. I don't know exactly how it works right now. It changes every year. But the point being, it's very, very difficult. And I don't know any other sport where the financial burden is 100% on the player. Football and basketball and soccer and baseball players, they don't accrue debt on the journey to their goal. Like, they get recruited and play in college. Their school is usually paid for if it's a Division I program. And I'm talking about Division I college golfers here coming in the same boat. Yet when you get out of college and it's time to turn pro, the other sports, you just get drafted. And you may not be making a ton of money, but at least you're not losing money. You're not paying to go show up and play in the basketball game the same way you pay to go play a round of golf. You pay to go practice golf. With a basketball, football, soccer, baseball player, the coaching's provided when you're on the D League or the developmental team or whatever. And you might make some small stipend every week to go live in the city and practice. And it's not glamorous or glorious, but, and then of course, if you're, recruited to play at the top level, NFL, NBA, then you're making millions straight out of the gate. That doesn't exist in golf. There is no like, oh yeah, the best college players just get recruited and immediately make millions. And I just feel like golf is so in the spotlight right now. There's something I can do here. Like, I need to collaborate with other people. I need some more, power and financial backing and stuff. But I'm starting to visualize, and this is an idea I had 2 years ago, a mini tour content series, digital series, Netflix series, whatever, but not highlighting the top 10 players in the world that are already rich and don't need any more endorsement, sponsorship money, notoriety. Love them. I'm not trying to take anything away from those guys, but I'm just saying there's this entire other realm of professional golf which is completely unknown, that like to someone like myself that plays golf and has competed my whole life, okay, I'm aware of it, but the average golfer and all the new fans getting into golf, what a missed opportunity that they don't even know how many insane stories there are. People out there like Brady Calkins and Matt Picanso and Kyle Karazis and Derek Trofimzik, so many of my friends that I met on the Dakotas Tour and the Asher Tour, guys that are legends at the mini tour level that the average golfer's never heard of, never will. These guys stay, broke their entire career. They're lucky if they break even, winning $8,000 in this tour and 11 grand in that tour, but you had to pay $3,000 in travel. Like there's no way to really get out. You almost just have to get lucky. You have to play great at the right time, right place, get on tour, make a cut, win a check, and never look back, which I just feel like there's so much money in the sport of golf. It shouldn't be that way. There should be a way to, find advertising dollars and sponsorship money to go somewhere other than the PGA Tour and the LIV. It's disproportionate. It's grossly disproportionate how much goes into the top 125 players in the world and how little goes into everybody else. And I feel like I'm in a unique position here, having devoted the last 8 years to building a personal brand. I'm not the most known, I'm not the biggest, but I at least, am able to do something here and there. I found my way on Apple News and Golf Digest this morning, so I must be doing something right. And I think it's just because of, a slow, methodical path over years, documenting my own professional golf journey and making content like this. I've tried my best, for better or worse, to be an authentic, transparent guy and share my unique experience as a pro golfer. It wasn't the best. I only had 3 wins. I missed the majority of the cuts I played in. And a lot of times the stories I told were about how hard it was. So it wasn't like, this heroic, I'm winning everything. And, that probably would have got me a lot more followers. But I just shared my own unique story. And now I do feel like I'm in a position where 2 years ago, I was interviewing my friends. I had this whole series going on the Dakotas Tour where I interviewed my buddies that were winning each week out on the Dakotas Tour, and was trying my best to use what little spotlight I had on my own content to shine on these guys that didn't really have a voice. They were not going to put the time and energy into building their own personal brands because they were so focused on golf. And, to be fair, it does take years to build a personal brand to the point of monetizing it. Maybe not anymore because it's such a common thing, being an influencer and monetizing that, or online coaching. But when I was starting, that word almost didn't even exist. The influencer word was invented somewhere in the middle of my content journey, which is crazy to acknowledge because it's such a household term nowadays. But my point being, even at the time 2 years ago when I was playing myself, I still felt like I could move the needle somewhat for my friends. And I tried my best, and whether or not it ever directly put dollars in any of their pockets, I don't know, but I certainly tried my best and my intentions were pure. Now being done, at least temporarily, with competing, putting all of my energy and effort into content and online coaching and trying to be, a voice in the game of golf, it's taken me a while to find my lane and figure out exactly what I'm passionate about, which type of golfer do I most feel like helping, do I most feel like I can help. And it's becoming abundantly clear to me with the fire that I just lit with this video yesterday that's made it to the news. My lane is helping and advocating for the younger version of me, the aspirational high school, college, or mini tour professional golfer that's up against the same uphill, upstream battle that I fought for 8 years. And now I'm in a position where I think I can do something about it. If I partner with the right people and the right news outlets, and maybe I get a ongoing deal with Golf Digest or other golf news outlets to where I can, be a creator, a video creator, or a blogger on a weekly basis and continue to put out more information about this. That's always how it starts. It's awareness of a problem, and then it's offering a solution. So the problem is it's an unfair thing to pursue professional golf. And if you're really realistic about it, it would be hard to encourage anyone that you care about and love to actually pursue pro golf. It's like a death wish. It's like, it's like going to school and you're going to accrue $250,000 of debt to become a doctor or whatever, but then there's pretty much a guarantee when you go through that, you'll make the money back. With golf, it's the same thing. It's a guaranteed several $100,000 buy-in to give yourself multiple years of time to pursue pro golf completely. But there's no guarantee of payback, and you're probably not going to get it back. And then you're going to wake up at 28, 30, 33, 37 and be like, what the fuck do I do with my life now? That's the moment I just had over the last 6 months as I've decided to step away. And it's been brutal. It's been the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my whole life, because I really, I was delusionally confident the whole time and felt like it was going to work out. And it still may someday. I don't think I'll ever completely give up. But for right now, I want to try to utilize all these experiences I've had and all the connections I've made and all the incredible pro golfers I've been fortunate enough to befriend and compete against and share memories and experiences with. I want to help those guys. And I think I'm more passionate about that than, working with probably just the average generic golfer. And I think I can be more valuable to those people too, because that's what I have direct experience with, is the mini tour grind and struggle. And that was, even 2-3 years ago, kind of what my brand was focused around and what I was gaining the most attention and notoriety for. So I'm sitting here, whiteboarding right now, talking with friends and family and thinking about what can I do. And the name Jake Paul comes to mind because of what he did with boxing. Say whatever you want about him, I don't care. I just think his business sense to create a personal brand and have so much firepower that he then, like, I don't care what your what causes you care about, until you're in a powerful position with a lot of money and a lot of status, you can't do anything about it. You can't write a letter to Congress or write a letter to the PGA Tour and say, this is injustice and I'd like this to change. First and foremost, you have to blow yourself up. Now, some people do that differently than others, but Jake, for better or worse, blew himself up by being highly controversial. But what I'm most interested in is what he's doing now. He's gotten very serious about boxing, and then he's become an advocate to get boxers paid more. He signed, he created his own promotion thing, MVP Promotions, Most Valuable Promotions, and has created, I don't know how many fights now with massive names like Mike Tyson and all these UFC fighters and Nate Diaz and Anderson Silva. It's just been, banger after banger after banger of him putting together, and it's his idea. It's not like those people are coming to him. He's the architect of all of this, even though everyone hates on him so much. It's genius. He's put together the biggest spectacles and completely revitalized a sport that was dying. No one cared about boxing at all. No one cared about boxing. Maybe the purists, but there was no attention on it. And he's all of a sudden poured gasoline and lighter fluid on it. And it's the biggest thing ever. Everyone tunes in to watch these crazy fights that he's been putting together. And then he signed other boxers that were totally under the radar, like Amanda Serrano. I think she's the best female boxer in the world. Never heard of her, never watched one of her fights. I don't even know you could watch one of her fights. Now she's big time. She's, she's, I think, sharing the ring as like the co-main event with Jake versus Tyson and stuff like that. And he's been a huge advocate, going straight at Dana White, of the owner of the UFC, exposing, how awful his pay structure is to his fighters that are out there risking their life, putting it all on the line for just chump change. And I feel like golf is very similar. There's no physical threat, obviously, in playing golf, but it's a similar, like, life or death scenario. Guys are risking it all, putting everything on the line, and the mini tours certainly aren't, doing anything to make it like, they're trying their best. And I'm not a mini tour owner or runner myself, and I think it's probably a position where there's not a lot they could do. They got to make enough money to at least call it a business and survive. There's never going to be any situation where a player funded tournament where we're just working with the entry fees of the players pays out some significant amount of money. They're always going to be top heavy. The guys just making the cut are always going to go home kind of losing money. The only way this changes is with significant sponsorship money, like millions of dollars of sponsorship money. And that only happens when there's enough eyeballs on the event to make it make sense to the sponsors. That's what Jake has done. He's put so many eyeballs on boxing that it's brought in the heavy hitters like Celsius and OnlyFans to sponsor these events. All of a sudden now there's much, much, much more money in the pot to divvy up. And I don't know whatever happened with his, plight against the UFC and trying to get their pay grade raised, but I think he certainly moved the needle and started the discussion and kind of set fire on the way boxing was dying, and he's revitalized it. And I feel like given the right supporting cast and the right chess pieces on the board, I could do something similar over the next decade, even less than that, depending on who comes in the mix and decides they want to help me with this. But I feel like it's not a small amount of people. Like there are thousands and thousands of pro golfers that definitely deserve to be playing for more money each week and at least having a fair chance. Like if you win the tournament, if you're literally beating 100 or 144 guys, that should do something for your life. It shouldn't be like, oh, great, that's enough money for me to get through the next 6 weeks of tournaments. And if I don't win another one, I'm right back where I started. And it should have some, like, there should be a more clear path to getting on a world tour. I don't know if that means more world tours, like more than just the PGA and the DP World Tour and the Live Tour that are paying out millions every week to the winners. I don't know if it's more like mini tour level tours that are televised and kind of put on the big stage, whether on TV or big streaming platforms like YouTube or Netflix. And, we give the players coaching on personal branding, and or maybe I'm allowed to like hand select people that I think have incredible inspirational stories and also are talented enough to really draw eyeballs and make the mini tour level of pro golf a spectacle that people want to see. But I feel like it's more entertaining. Like I don't know about you, but watching the Live Tour, I don't care because they're so heavily paid. It means nothing to me. There's no element of like, oh, I hope this guy wins and changes his life. You know that they've all been paid tens, if not hundreds of millions just to be there, just to sign the Live Tour contract. So to watch them play for another 3 million means nothing to me. PGA Tour, a little different because there's no like paycheck just for being a tour member. However, it's still like the amount of money that they're playing for, and unless it's a guy that's never won before, it's not that exciting to watch them win. I think it's more exciting to watch the guys that are trying to come up. Like, they're not, there's no glory or glamour in the mini tour life yet. Like these guys are broke, they're laying it all on the line. Some of them have a wife or young kids, or they're working 2 jobs to try to make it happen. And I don't think it should have to be that way. I think there should be some significant prize funds that these guys can play for. I think it comes down to people like myself and other marketers, advertisers, content creators to find a way to put more eyeballs and attention on the mini tour, circuit of golf itself, and then sign contracts, negotiate the deals, find the sponsors, and figure out a way to pump money into it so it's not all coming from the player's entry fee. I'd like to reduce player entry fees because golf's expensive enough, dude. A country club membership at like $700-800 a month as a junior member, getting the cheapest thing you can get, or just simply going and practicing at your local course and paying for 18 and having to try to play twilight rounds to squeeze out at the cheapest rate at the end of the day and only get in 15 before it's dark out. Like golf is enough of a grind just to play in general. It's probably the most expensive sport there is. You don't have to play to go practice basketball, football, soccer, baseball. Why is golf's the only one that costs, I don't know, an average of $80 per round or $100 per round, or if you live in LA, just to hit a bucket of large balls is $25. Like, it's crazy, dude. Sorry for getting so like ranty and passionate about it, but I lived this. This was my life. I'm 33. I've been playing since I was 28, and I did all the check marks: high school, Division I college, mini tour, pro golf, Q schools. It's got me, I'm not gonna say nowhere, but it's left me broke and very dejected and deflated. And I'd like to not see that pattern continue for the next generation and the next generation, because it's an awesome game, but there should be more opportunities to earn a living from it than just the top 150 players in the world. I think we could all agree on that. So I am going to work hard at this. I'm open to suggestions and comments. Please drop them if you have any. Please leave a like if you'd like to see this video get more traction. Please subscribe and turn on post notifications if you'd like to pay attention to the next series of videos that I make that are going to continue to be kind of on this topic. I feel like I'm finding my lane. I feel like this is a cause I can really, as you can see, get some energy and passion behind. And I think I can move the needle on it. I really do think I speak the language of golf and the language of mini tour pro golf. I don't know what it's like to be a PGA Tour player. I can't speak on that. I never got there. But I do know what it's like to struggle and try to grind your way from one mini tour to the next and get through Q schools. And there's a lot of people that I think will relate to what I had to say about that. And maybe I can find a way to do something for those people and put them together in a mini tour sponsored by some big brands that pump enough money in there to actually make it move the needle for guys in their careers and give them a better chance to progress, or if I'm able to at some point maybe change the structure of Q School or create different tours, like maybe there's more than just the PGA and the DP World Tour and the Live Tour. Maybe there's more intermediate level tours at the level of like Corn Ferry in terms of payout, where it's still good money. You're probably not a millionaire, but you're also not broke and questioning if you can keep doing this another year or if you need another job. I feel like there could be more middle ground there, and it's kind of a matter of connecting brands and investors and the people with the money and the power that can actually affect change, connecting them with the visionaries and the creatives like myself and the people that really speak the language of the sport and have had experience for years doing it themselves, so they understand the ins and outs of it and what would work. And then again, the marketing understanding of what drives sales and brand awareness for the companies that are going to want to invest in stuff like this. And I feel like I'm capable of doing that. It's going to probably be a big challenge and take some time to figure out, and I'm going to have to figure out how I can earn a living myself from it, so that I can sustain continuing to work at this. But details that I'll iron out in the future. For now, I'm just kind of trying to get the concept out there to not only validate it to myself and allow myself to kind of take the ideas from my head and articulate them into something that's a little more organized and structured to where it makes sense in a video format for you. That's part of my process. And then two, definitely trying to crowdsource ideas or people that might be interested in this. In a perfect world, this is being watched by somebody right now that is going to reach out via Instagram DM or comment and be like, yo bro, I know just the perfect thing. I've got an investor, or I know the company that would do this, or I got a production company that would be down to film a pilot with you of documenting 5 guys on this tour or that tour or through Q School, and that'll be our test series. And then we'll pitch it for round A funding from some bigger people to try to get a couple million behind it and turn it into this big TV thing. Like, my hope is that something like that happens either now or in a month or in 6 months as this video hopefully accumulates views. So please, algorithm, do your thing, put this in front of the right people. And please, for those of you watching, leave 3 comments, leave 5 comments, send it to a friend. It all helps the algorithm, and I really feel passionate about this. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.